Well, good evening and welcome back to KTN Prime. Now, for decades, our political scene has been a high-stakes poker game played by the same hands, and the youth have been mostly spectators cheering from the sidelines. But tonight, the digital streets have moved to physical cues. The clarion call, Niko Kadi, is echoing from TikTok to the IEBC registration centers. It's a bold move, showing the youth are ready to deal a new hand in the 2027 general election. Is the youth vote a sleeping giant, ready to wake up and prove the naysayers wrong and leave their mark in Kenya's governance structure? Tonight, I'll be sitting down with the youth themselves, who are leading from the front, being the change they want to see. We'll be interrogating the movement, Niko Kadi, its end goal, the challenges lying ahead, starting with mass voter registration and voter sensitization as we ease into the issues on the table and possible solutions from their point of view. As you can see, it's a full house right here in studio, joined by vibrant Kenyans who are taking charge and being the change they want to see. Karibuni sana to this particular studio conversation. And before we start interrogating your views, I just want to sample some of the views by youth from across the country. Our reporter Bramwell Bwire had an opportunity to have a chat, a tete-a-tete with some of the youth in Kisumu County. Let's listen in to what they have to say about this Niko Kadi civil movement and what it portends for Kenya's governance structure. Listen in.
Well, Jesse, thank you. The Niko Kadi Kisumu chapter is here, and they are saying they have mobilized themselves. They are targeting over 1,000 youths to register and turn out just to ensure that their voice can be counted. Tantana wewe, tell us your name, where you come from, how old are you, and how are you feeling that today uko Kadi?
Kwa majina naitwa Victor Kipchumba. I'm from Nandi County, a place called Chepterit, and today I'm so happy to be here today kwa sababu ya motivation ya vijana, because we have felt sidelined for a very long time. Na mimi mwenyewe sijawahi chukua kadi, hii ni mara yangu ya kwanza kuchukua kadi. Na kwa hivyo hivi leo I'm so happy that today, leo hii naenda kuchukua kadi ili so that we can vote out those leaders that are not taking our voices into accountability.
Let me speak to the lady here. Tuambie jina lako, where you come from, and what is your motivation today?
Kwa majina naitwa Gloria Malesi. I come from Vihiga County, and today I'm so happy to be here. Nimefurahia leo naenda kuchukua kadi so that next year we can vote out those leaders wenye wanatunyanyasa.
Have you ever tried, ama popote Vihiga huko umejaribu kufikia hivi tu vya kupigia kura? Have you just tried to maybe register yourself as a voter? And if you have tried, what was some of the challenges that you experienced?
No, I've not yet tried. This is my first time trying this. Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 23 years.
Thank you.
Kisumu, the main challenge has been with the ID registration. So people have been signing up for IDs. Some are going even 9 months. There is a few after the president brought the free registration and renewal. But we are seeing maybe 6 months. That was in October 31st. Yeah? Now we are how many months? 6 months in. And some of these guys who went there as early as November 1st have not yet received these IDs.
Let me speak to you. The youths have always been known to be not patient guys. They don't want to wait for too long. This time round, how are you going to ensure that this campaign is well sustained? Because are we going to see just a one-day thing and then Niko Kadi is just the Niko Kadi, the other campaigns that we have seen?
Thank you very much. My name is Linda Ogweno. I come from Kisumu County. Specifically, I come from Migosi. And to answer your question very directly, this is day one. You be prepared to see more of this. And we're going to work hand in hand with IEBC to see into it that we knock on each particular door and each and every person who has qualified to register as a voter gets out to vote. We are aware that every day there's somebody who's turning 18. So we cannot stop this at this particular time. Monday, I know IEBC is starting mass voter registration. Personally, we were there yesterday to see into it that the process today becomes very successful, because we had heard of what had happened in the other counties and we did not want to go through the same.
Thank you. Some of the sentiments being raised here by the Niko Kadi campaign Kisumu chapter, and they are saying we will not be infiltrated. They are saying all the challenges that have been experienced in Juja and other places, they are not going to be experienced here. They are saying the journey is starting today and will go on until all those who are turning 18, those who are over 18 and they don't have the card, watakuwa kadi. From Kisumu, back to you in the studios.
Well, thanks, Bwire. He recorded that a little bit earlier on, but you can definitely tell the vigor amongst the Kenyan youth when it comes to not only registering as voters, but making sure their vote counts. And that's why we have a youthful baraza right here in studio. I won't be able to introduce each and every one of them, but it's an absolute pleasure to have you with us. I can definitely see the present and the future right here. Karibuni sana to the KTN studios. A lot to talk about, but I'd like us to start with general questions. We provided you with cards, I'd call them that, since Niko Kadi. The pink one will be representing the no answers. The blue one will be representing the yes answers. So we'll just start with open-ended questions. By show of cards, not by show of hands this time round. How many of us are registered voters? Tunasema na kutenda. Okay, so none is still waiting to register. That's good to know. By show of cards still, how many of us belong to political parties, are registered as members of a political party? Well, there's some who are not raising, but I get the flow. Well, there you go. There are a couple of no's, there are a couple of yeses. We'll get to interrogate that, the space of Kenyan youth in these political parties in Kenya, whether they're briefcase parties, as sometimes they're referred to, or national parties with a national outlook. How many of us intend to vie in the 2027 general election? Okay. So some of us will be throwing their hats into the ring, others will be watching from the sidelines. And it's good we have a mix of active political players and those who are watching from the sidelines. Let's start with perhaps setting the stage in this particular conversation, because IEBC is targeting 6 million new voters in this round of registration. So far, according to IEBC, I think it was as of yesterday, 250,391 new voters have been registered in this process that is ongoing. Of course, we expect IEBC to kickstart the enhanced continuous voter registration as of 31st. That's on Monday next week. It will run for a month. Let's set the stage by understanding what exactly differentiates the Niko Kadi movement from the previous voter registration processes that we've seen in the country that target the youth mostly. How do we ensure we meet that target of 6 million new voters? I'd like to begin with you, Wanjira. What's your take on that?
Thank you for having me. My name is Wanjira Wanjiru. I think what sets the Niko Kadi campaign is that this is citizen-led. This is young people-led. This is young people taking matters into their own hands, mobilizing each other, supporting each other, hyping each other up at every other center to vote out this government. This is what the Niko Kadi campaign is about. I don't think we've had it before. I think previously it was mobilizing voters to just take their voter's card, exercise their civic duty. But this time round, we have a mission to birth a new republic by voting out leaders who have betrayed us before, who continue to disregard the voices of the young people. We have complained, we have protested, and now we see that we have to use the ballot way to make our voice matter, to decide our futures and the futures of our children.
And how do we differentiate hype from hope? Because at the end of the day, taking your voter registration card is the first step. The next step is ensuring you vote on election day. And this is a country where youth turn-up during general elections has been characterized by voter apathy. So is it hype? Is it hope? How do we sustain this particular momentum until the 2027 general election? If you could kindly pass the mic, feel free. Yeah.
Hi, Jesse.
Hey.
Nice seeing you again.
Pleasure.
For such a long time.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me. I am Isaac Nganga, a political aspirant, and I'm vying for the seat of the Senate of Kiambu County.
All the best.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And this is to say that there is so much hope. So this is not hype. The reason why it's not hype is because there's no way we can be hyped up about lacking medicine in the hospital. People are dying now. Now people are dying. When you go to Kiambu Level 5 hospital, for example, the morgue, They don't have a fridge, and it's very small. There's no dignity even when you die.
So they have a small fridge, or they don't have?
They don't have the fridge is not working.
Okay.
So they have to continue buying embalmment fluid over and over. What that tells you is there's someone who is getting a lot of money, who's making a lot of money with the embalmment fluid, that does not want to buy a fridge so that they do not lose out on that tender. It's not hype when people are dying because we are being shot by police. It is not hype when I have many issues on my platform as Niyetu. I represent Niyetu Foundation. Niyetu Foundation, we're in 33 counties where we get problems of what people are going through in 33 counties. And when you just go to niyetu.co.ke and click the report an issue platform, when you go and just view the complaints, they're being recorded every day, including today. Our roads in Umoja, Oloibon Hotel is bad, inadequate infrastructure, that is roads, no power. There are many problems that people are raising there. So this is not hype. It is not hype when we go without water. It's not hype. It's not hype when we have when we have overly hyped prices for going to university, when teachers wa JSS wanalipwa 17,000, umeenda university ulipwa 17,000, and then the money that someone is getting in their office, the budget that is just for the state house, bro, it's crazy, it's bananas. So we're not here because of hype. Niko Kadi is not a hype thing. We're here because we know that we are able to change this nation. When in my constituency, for example, we have 108 million every year coming to the constituency for development. But when you come to Gatondo North, there's no development that is really measurable. When you go to Gathafokoni, there are no roads there. Avocados are being stolen every day. There's 101 issues za SGBV. It's not hype. People are going through real problems. So tukisema tuko Kadi juu tunataka ku change nation, because we know it's possible. We cannot politic about the things that are ailing us, and we are able to change that through policy and through also goodwill. You know.
I get you.
Yeah. So it's not a hype movement. Manze mimi Niko Kadi kwa sababu
utaisustain how till 2027 general election?
Sio till 2027, beyond. Ni kuchukua kadi, kwenda kupiga kura na kuilinda kura, and then we are also going to keep leaders accountable. Like when you go to Niyetu now, niyetu.co.ke, we have accountability. We have a platform where we can keep leaders accountable. Tunasema wewe MP Kororia Gatondo North umekuwa na 500 million for these 4 years. That is just budget that has been allocated and you've gotten away from the grants and the other channels MPs get money from. What have you done? Can you be accountable with the money that we have given? Because it's not the money, it's money that we have been taxed, so that it comes to you, so that it comes to us as development, so that we're able to do proper business. You understand?
I get where you're coming from. Perhaps let's pass the mic and listen to the lady right next to you, because there's a section of youth who have raised concerns about the delays in voter registration. We saw, passionate youth yesterday in various towns, including Thika, citing delays in voter registration, shortage of officials from IEBC, faulty equipment, congestion due to the large number of youth who are turning up to register as voters. And I mentioned we're waiting for that enhanced continuous voter registration starting next week, Monday. What would you tell IEBC? But firstly, do you think this is a move to suppress voter registration, or it's simply capacity challenges that have become a norm in Kenya on a day-to-day basis? Yeah.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I am Charity Wawero, a teacher by profession, a civic educator on social media platforms, and I go by Gen Z Buddy over there. And that's the difference between Tuko Kadi and the other registrations that have been there. Tuko Kadi, it's about, people are angry. It's about rage, it's about patriotism. Zamani, when people were registering, it was the government calling people to come and register. It was the government urging people to register. But now, it is the citizens, sorry. You've asked me, is it about voter suppression? Definitely. It's definitely voter suppression. Because they feel like right now they are not the ones calling the shots, and it's the truth. They are not calling the shots. We are calling the shots. And I don't know how they feel about it. I feel like we have a government whose ego is so fragile. In Guzo Kidogo, it's bruised, and it's sad. It's saddening. But again, we are not relenting. Tuko Kadi, and tuko Kadi ndio tubadilishe hii nchi. It's not hype. Again, as he has said, it is hope for a better country. Yes. It is hope for working institutions. We can't have EACC being a toothless dog. An institution that should shake this country to the core, can't do nothing. We have IPOA. People are shot on the streets. Tunaambiwa sijui 39 have been, hatukuwaona ama sisi ni vipofu. We need working institutions, ndio maana tuko Kadi. We are going to shake up this country. We are looking it block by block. Watu wataenda nyumbani. Wait and see.
Say enhanced voter registration ikianza, what advice would you give IEBC? Because we'd assume there'd be more clerks. Perhaps they'll have seen the surge in numbers and prepared in advance. Because failing to plan is planning to fail, you know?
Definitely.
Yeah, so what advice would you give the electoral body?
Be ready. Don't underestimate us. Don't underestimate the numbers. People will show up. So be ready. Just be ready. Mujipange tu. Siju kwa nini wana ignore. Kwa sababu I was at Embakasi East, and we had I don't know if it's the chairperson or something, and he was telling us, oh, these people are so many. We are not expecting such numbers. And you wonder, we've been pushing this campaign online. People are showing up. So how do you tell us you are not expecting such numbers? It's absurd, to be honest. It's ignorant, at the least.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, the buck stops with the electoral body. As we cross over, I'd like your take on voter apathy, because at the end of the day, Siri ni numbers, and we've had the youth agitate that message time and time again. But if I look at the 2022 general election, Kenya recorded the lowest ever turnout in over 15 years. They say only 64.8% of the 22.1 million registered voters then actually turned out and participated in the voting process. So protest by abstaining from voting is a reality, particularly amongst the youth. Will this enthusiasm of registering actually will it actually make it to the finish line in terms of the 2027 general election and bring about real change? How will we change that perception? That saa zingine youth wana register, but on voting day, maybe they registered in Nairobi, na wameambiwa, hey, it's not safe, come back home. So kura inapotelea hivyo. How do we deal with these dynamics that perhaps make youth one of the groups that don't turn up to register as voters?
Thank you so much. My good name is Ken Babu. Allow me to say that the idea, the thought of, the thinking of having, telling young people that it might not be safe here or move to this place. You see, a regime that wants to read themselves back to power is a regime that operates that way. Recently, just a reference, we saw the Star trying to give us some figures that President William Ruto and his faction would lead in 2027 by around 10 million in 24 counties. And then, of course, the opposition on the other side would get around 6 or 7 million. That is a conversation that's already pushed by a regime that is planning to rig themselves back to power, so that by the time they do that, they can justify that, guys, we've been leading all through in the opinion polls. So I don't think there's any need to raise an alarm that there shall be a problem or something. What we need to push now is to ensure that young people are coming out to register as voters first. The Niko Kadi initiative, our agenda first is to ensure that people are first registered. And then now it will be an incumbent responsibility to mobilize them again to come and cast the vote. But then you cannot cast what you've not registered yet. And recently I had IEBC Commissioner Dr. Alutala trying to create a perception that of the 250,000 registered voters so far, that the young people are the minority in that. So that I fail to understand. Walk into any polling station, registration center now, and count in those numbers, in those lines, how many old men and women are in those lines. So then IEBC is also, to some extent, I tend to feel that IEBC is also being used by the government to create a narrative that young people are not showing up to register, whereas they are the ones who have failed, actually, to provide the necessary human resource to actualize the proper registrations. And the case study in Kakamega, we saw that one young person, a Gen Z, just offered herself to be a clerk to assist other Gen Zs to register because IEBC had failed to offer enough resources. So let me, as I respond to your question, allow me first say that Tuko Kadi because of many reasons. Our mothers and our relatives, everybody around this country, ako Kadi because of different reasons. Somebody ako Kadi because of unemployment. Mtu ako Kadi because of because of an unfavorable business environment. Somebody ako Kadi because of corruption, extensive corruption. Recently we saw 11 billion disappeared in SHA. Those are not just money, my brother. Those are women and men and children who are dying right now at Kenyatta Hospital because Aden Duale decided to squander that money. 11 billion shillings can give us 5 level 5 hospitals fully furnished. So if you want to break it down so that a Kenyan can understand what we are talking about, what I'm saying is Aden Duale has got 5 level 5 furnished hospitals in his stomach as a one person. But then,
I'll throw spanner in the works, even as you continue, respectfully. There's a court case ongoing. There are a couple of medical facilities that are facing...
Yes, okay. But what we are saying is, he ought not to be in the office right now. If we had a working system, if we had a man at the top who means business, that CS ought to have been sacked immediately so that this case goes on akiwa inje. Get that?
Yes.
We are having recently we saw allocation of 17 billion to State House ya kukunywa China mandazi. In the same country where 44,000 JSS teachers cannot be confirmed on permanent and pensionable terms.
Yeah.
But then how do you explain to somebody that you are taking your child to school, you pay all the unnecessary fees that have been duped on parents with this government, but then after graduation, they cannot still get employment. So Tuko Kadi, people are Kadi because of many reasons. And just to mention more, police brutality. Mimi Niko Kadi maybe because I lost a relative, courtesy of recklessness of this government. Niko Kadi because of abductions and killings, forced disappearance. Mama Ojwang Niko Kadi because anytime she wakes up, what she sees is grave. Mama Rex, Masa and the family wako Kadi because the only thing they can remember about Rex with is a photograph on the wall and the grave. So people wako Kadi because of many, many reasons. And we cannot say and reduce this thing into a hype. As I finish, allow me say that over time, young people, we've complained, we've raised issues, but we've not been listened to. And now we've decided to take the power into our hands. And if anybody is doubting this movement, if anybody is doubting the power of youth in this country today, I want to give them a warning that you are playing with a time bomb and will not manage to control it when it eventually erupts. Thank you.
You know, looking at statistics, IEBC has failed time and time again to meet that target of registering new voters. This time round, mnasema hiyo 6 million itafikishwa,
But let me ask you, bro.
Briefly,
let me ask you briefly. IEBC has a budget.
True.
Do you know IEBC has got close to 5 billion for civic, political education?
Okay.
What are they doing about it? I mean, any of you here, when amekuwa kwa baraza ya IEBC, is telling anybody? You see, let me tell you, my brother, the people you see on this panel I can say that they've got the exposure, the advantage of exposure. They can go to IEBC and Towers and ask these questions. But still, they've not been in advantage position to get the training and civic education of IEBC. Okay. So then, what do you make of a young person in the village who is more than 400 kilometers from Nairobi? So then IEBC has a responsibility to step up and do what needs to be done. Number one. Number two, the chairperson of IEBC must be intentional together with his commissioners. They have to be intentional about voter registration. And if by Monday they are not going to have enough human resource and all that, I mean, we will take over and register ourselves.
Let's hear from the gentleman right next to you, because one might ask, what next after voter registration? Is civic education, voter education on the cards for you as youth? Mtaenda kuwa mashinani to make sure that mtu amejua the power of that voter's card. Are youth prescribing to the old school of thought? Because we might be speaking as elites right here, but venye amesema ukienda uko mashinani, there might be a youth who's prescribing to better the devil I know than the angel I don't. That I don't, Mr. Vutia mtu hajachangamka, if you understand what I mean, due to the economic implications of the current day and age, you know? So talk to us about that. Uta change mentality, this youth aje. Civic education, how? Yeah.
My name is Masden Kibet. Thank you for having me in this show. I come from Nandi County, the city of champions, actually. Yes. So, Tuko Kadi, it's a robust conversation that I do firmly believe that we, the youths, are the nuclear. The nuclear because we set the agenda in this country. We, the youths, we are looking for, we are the job creators. We are not job seekers. That's what we need to know. At first, most of us, we are talking emotionally, of which we should not be talking emotionally. We should be talking logically. Because at the end of the day, you don't fight the system. You join the system and make options for others. When you fight the system, when you fight the system,
I'll protect you. Proceed.
Please protect you.
Okay.
You don't fight the system, my friend.
Okay.
I know.
Let him argue logically. Okay. Proceed. Hi, Gen Z buddy, relax.
Development is a charity.
Yes.
Everybody here in the country are right to get development from each and every area, every marginalized area. So, for us, the youth, we set the agenda for this government. I do firmly believe that it is us who gave. I was not part of the team that gave this the regime, but I know some of you are part of the team that gave this regime.
They'll speak for themselves. Proceed, yeah.
I'm not a joiner of the system, because what I believe is that whatever I've seen in this country, this country we've been lagging behind for the last 64 years since independence.
Yeah.
And I think for every prosperous nation, for every nation to prosper, we need development. We need to change the system in a way that it is better for us all.
So do you change the system by being part of the system, or do you change it from outside?
You know, right now,
Yeah.
we the youth, we are the capable of electing leaders of tomorrow.
Capable or incapable?
We are very capable. Yes.
Yes.
We are the one who will elect these leaders. And electing these leaders, we mean it should be from the grassroots up to the top. We need to do, what have you done for us? Where we gave you a scorecard. What have you done? What have you implemented?
Okay.
Is this part of the manifesto that you gave us? So that when you come for the second term or the new term, what will you give us? Because what I know is that hype fades, movement grows.
And this is a movement or hype?
It's a movement. I'm not part of the system.
Okay, I need a government now. Order. As we proceed. I wanted to ask you, and I think he sort of evaded the question, changing the narrative, especially amongst the youth or the older generation, who might think that, ethnicity is better than, this hype around Niko Kadi. That some might think, better the devil I know than the angel I don't. In whose hands are the youth safe? How do we change that narrative from where you sit?
Thank you, Jesse. My name is Joshua Okayo. And the gentleman seated next to me, we had a conversation before we came in here. And he was very progressive out there. I didn't even know his name is Kibet. So when I had him introduce himself as Kibet, I was so happy that, hey, kumbe, this ethnicity, whatever, is not amongst us, the young people, because we have a Kibet who is part of the movement. Unfortunately, Kibet is telling us that we should not have emotions in these matters. So I looked at Kibet again and I was like, kumbe, we have an old person in a Gen Z.
I'll defend him now.
At least we have Kibet Bull. Tuko na Kibet Bull.
But don't worry, we have Kibet Bull.
Yeah.
Okay. So before I get into that...
Okayo.
Bro.
He's a system joiner. He'll join us.
It's all right.
We just have to transform him.
Yeah, we'll transform him.
He's a fit side.
We'll transform him from inside.
He's a fit
Okay.
side.
Yeah.
Proceed, bro.
Thank you. So, number one, I allow me to also touch on other things that I've had across.
Sure.
I would consider this hope and also a hype. I would not be ashamed if someone said this is just a hype. It's a hype, yes, because this is how hyped we are about our future and the new Kenya, the new republic that we want to create. We are bringing hope, but we are hyped about that hope. We are so joyous, we are happy that for the first time we are coming up together
notwithstanding our differences in terms of ethnicities and every other thing, and saying that we want a new Kenya, a better Kenya for everyone. So if someone says this is a hype, gladly accept it's a hype, and that's how hyped we are for our future. That's how hyped we are for a new Kenya. At the same time, if someone says that we should not talk with emotions, human beings are emotional beings. And the things we are speaking here touch on our lives and livelihoods. When we talk about money stolen, we are talking about someone's salary stolen. We are talking about someone's job stolen. We are talking about someone's business stolen. That is emotional. That is emotional. When we talk about hospitals not functioning, we are talking about family members dying. We are talking about someone's son, daughter, mother dying. That is emotional. When we talk about people stealing CDF money, there's a child who will never find an opportunity to go to school. And that means their future is almost, it's almost cut. Because then, if someone does not receive education in this era and age, then it means their chances of becoming people, that would probably transform societies in every way are minimal. That is emotional. It is very emotional. So we must accept that this thing is emotional, and politics is a very emotional subject. Now, coming to the ethnicity and ethnic differences, I think for the first time we are seeing people speaking issues as opposed to our person and the other person and who comes from where. We've had people who, from areas where some of these non-performing CSs and MPs and whoever come from, and they've been able to point to issues, and they've been able to say that so-and-so is not performing, and we don't want to get him back next time. In short, people are interested in what leaders are able to do and what they're not able to do, as opposed to where they are coming from. We've also been able to change the narrative with regards to the older generation. I mean, we've had instances where many people believed that we are only represented, or our interests are represented only if this person coming from our region is part of the government or part of the panel. What we are saying, and remember we are the majority, what we are saying is that it doesn't matter where this person we are going to elect for whatever position comes from. What matters is that the job they're elected to do gets done. That is what we are interested in. We are interested in systems working. We don't want to know if there is a Kibet or a Waweru or an Okayo somewhere who is doing the job. That is what we are doing. Okay. And if you want to know, it is changing. This Niko Kadi movement was started by the young people. And everyone has joined. Someone touched on it. That tells you that the young people are setting the agenda of this nation. And if our agenda, and all of us, about 10 of us in this panel, are agreeing unanimously that we are beyond these ethnic divisions and what we want is a system that works, then I can tell you the agenda we are setting here is going to be followed by everyone else. The whole nation is now behind voter registration through, backing the Niko Kadi movement. That tells you how powerful the young people's voices are. So it means we are past that point. We are past a point where we will be listening to politicians to tell us where to go and where to head. We are at a point where those politicians who've been winning or leaders who've been winning on ethnic basis will have to listen to the people to know where we are heading. If this ethnic thing is not working, like we've said, it's not working, no one is going to follow that. And I can tell you, Kibet and many other people are also Niko Kadi, and deep down I know they are saying, must go, must go.
True.
I don't know.
Okay, we'll lift cards a little bit later on to know if must go is a reality. I'd like your take, because there's this intergenerational dependence, a conversation that perhaps highlights the necessity of the old in mentoring the young, and the young leading from the front in terms of their energy, their vigor. Talk to me about how we make that older generation jump onto this bandwagon that is so active on social media, that has moved from social media to forming long queues in a bid to register as voters. Because this is an age group that doesn't relate with FOMO. The fear of missing out on Niko Kadi, apana, they're used to that ethnic-driven stability that has sort of worked in Kenya's political space for over 50 years. You train a tree while it's still young, but what if that tree is matured?
Thank you for having us. My name is Sophie Mogorenje here. I come from Thika, the aggrieved place where we only had one clerk.
Unfortunately.
Attending to, and by the way, before I continue, I want to be MCA of Thika Township Ward. I'm vying. So no one should tell us that digital advocacy doesn't work, because we've complained for 2 days, but today they brought in 6 clerks and we were able to register 600 new voters.
At the same center?
In Thika, the same center.
Okay, impactful. Okay.
So our digital advocacy as young people is our greatest tool, and it's actually working. You've asked a very good question, because as young people, we have been trying to make the older generation understand that we are their children. They brought us up, they took us to school, they sacrificed everything they needed to sacrifice to get us to become the people that we are today. We are not anarchists, we are not criminals. We are just begging and seeking and putting our best foot forward to fight for this nation. I feel like during the protests, the older generation did not understand why we took to the streets. They thought of it as a dance with death. And they were like, stop. You want to make us sad. But Niko Kadi is revolutionizing that, because it is a movement that is saying no to bad governance, to a governance that is full of lies and empty promises. A governance that does not, our parents are the ones whose pension money is going to be used to build roads. 2.8 trillion of the NSSF fund is our parents' money, that's their pension money. Our parents are the ones who have lifestyle diseases. They're the ones who are going to the hospital to get blood pressure drugs. They're the ones who need diabetic drugs, but some of our parents have cancer. Is not, by the way, that story for cancer, that 850,000, you need Jabba. It's still 500,000. And pre-authorization is taking days. So the problems that we're talking about directly affect our parents. Our parents are the ones who are being told to let go of their ancestral land so that they come to town and live in slums that are upward slums. They leave their ancestral land. Our parents are the ones who are losing their children to police brutality. Day in, day out. Tuko kwa ghetto. Ayongelelewi, Madhare, Mukuru, Coach. Mayouth wanauliwa, wazazi wetu ndio wanalia. So Niko Kadi is a symbol of our resistance to bad governance. And this time round, mission yetu ni confuse enemy, by the way. Unajua enemy alikuwa anajua 2024 tumekasirika. So it was very easy for the enemy to infiltrate our movement, because he also came from a point of anger. But this time round, Jesse, Niko Kadi is a joyous movement. We are using joy as a symbol of our resistance.
Well, someone didn't seem so happy when they were mentioning
the anger
the errors
I'm
in
telling
this
you, it is confused the enemy.
Oh, confused.
The anger is still deep inside of us.
Okay.
But our modus of organizing is joy. Did you see us having fun in Embakasi? Yeah. Did you see us singing Brikicho? Did you see us dancing with our flag and saying Ruto must go? This time round, let me tell you, they won't be able to infiltrate this movement. Because they don't understand how we are functioning. And our parents, we are asking you to join hands with us to change this country. Let us say something. We are patriotic Kenyans. We are Kenyans who want a country of dignity. We have to paint a picture of the country that we want. We have to paint a picture of the leaders that we want to rule us. Yep. We want leaders wenye hawatukanani. We want leaders who have decorum, who exercise decorum. We want leaders who don't lie to us, who tell us the truth. Nitawaibia, mukinichagua nitawaibia. Those are the kinds of leaders that we want, people who are honest and integral. So we have to work together to build a nation that is working, because it's not for us today. It's for posterity, for our children. What will they find? Will they find a system that does not allow them to go to grade 10? Sisi hatukuwa na shida ati ulikuwa class 8 unafikiria ka utaenda form 1 ama hautaenda form 1. Sasa hii hata wewe Jesse ukiambiwa uadvise mtu wako form 1 ama mtu wako form 4, utamwambia soma kwa bidii utapata big G. Thank you.
Interesting. Okay. Confuse the enemy. As you take up, I don't know if this message resonates with most of you. I've heard it time and time again. Hatujui mwenye tutapea kura, but tunajua mwenye hatutapea. I can see some heads shaking. So where's the solution in that? In whose hands are these youth safe? Looking at the top leadership, where would you rather put your trust in? Because that will beg the question, are we members of political parties? Are there spaces for youth in these political parties to push their agenda and make sure they're heard and their voice actually matters? Yeah.
Thank you, Jesse, for this opportunity. My name is Ongoya Fidel Castro. I'm the Comrades President of Safina Party, the only party east, west, north, and south of Kenya and some parts of heaven that has an agenda that is meant to economically liberate our country. I will start off by, this is a conversation of how we are moving the country forward. So Kibet, there is a saying that our old men say that it is leadership to admit when you have failed. It starts from there. The current government has only achieved 24 promises out of 251, which accounts to 9.56% of government. You do not rank your daughter or son in school because he is trying to understand mathematics. You rank him if he's able to add 1 + 1 and cumulatively achieve 2. If he's able to add 10 + 10 and cumulatively achieve 20. 24 promises is a strong E. That is why people are demonstrating during 2024. The knowledge and agitation came towards putting the executive and the county governments as devolved units into a form of checks and balances. We are now talking about mobilizing our country to ensure that we do away with crooked leaders and bring in people who are going to work. Yeah. So my brother, it is leadership to admit that the government has failed. And I also want to remind you that when we have tyranny, and in moments that tyranny become a fact, revolution becomes a norm. Yeah. And I would advise you, my friend, don't enter into a trap you see with your head, using your 2 legs. Put one head there, your brain outside and your left leg outside, because you are heading towards the wrong direction.
We'll give him a right of reply later on.
80% of the country cannot be seeing something towards a given direction, and you become sharper more than 46 million of Kenyans who are crying. I will go to the youth. 75% of Kenya is a young population, and that is the reason as to why you are talking about Niko Kadi. 2017, we had 44% of youth as registered voters who voted. We experienced a backdrop of -5% in 2022. But we're experiencing a situation where if the youth continue with this Niko Kadi movement, 70% of the voters now will be young people. Yeah. If we have 70% of the voters as young people and we decide that we want to elect Charity as the president, believe you me, Charity will be the president before we even announce the election day.
And when will you decide on that?
I'm coming there. Okay, it's a question you had asked.
Yeah.
So before we reach to who we are electing, we are talking about the campaign of you arming yourself. This is a war. Your ID is your gun, and your bullet is your voter's card, and you shoot it at the ballot. Kenyan electorate have the behavior of electing people out, but we have a common thing that we can all come to as an understanding as the youth, is that the failed leadership is about the economy. And number 2, this problem that we have the economy is necessitating us to elect good leaders. That now comes to the political parties. Why are you joining political party X? Because if I look at the ideology, vis-a-vis whatever I wanted to achieve. Let's say during the 2024 protest, you are talking about high cost of living. Let me read out to you what I think is wrong here. So when I talk about the economy,
just hold your mic here.
When I talk about the economy, I'm talking about public debt, high taxes, unemployment, corruption, and wastage in the money that is in the public exchequer, weak industrial base, and poor policy. All these have done what I call, they have crippled the youth, and not only the youth, but also a generation or the people in our country as a whole. Why? Because the people who had jobs lost them. The people who have their jobs have their salaries reduced into such a manner that if Jesse was able to afford 2 loaves of bread, Jesse can only afford 1. And in a bad scenario, someone like Fidel can afford none, cannot sleep in the house they are sleeping to. I think you have also had students saying that they now sleep on rooftops, treetops, and under bridges. It is a living reality in Kenya. So we have come to a common understanding that the country is being run bad. And I've given you an example of how the government has performed. So back to the political parties question that you asked. Political parties, or these outfits are meant to give us preferable leaders that will lead us to where we want the country to go. But it is also our own decision to look at what Jesse is providing. When William Ruto was coming to power, he talked about bottom up. He talked about a better education. He talked about reducing borrowing. It does not astonish even a madman in Kenya that the country has borrowed 1.3 trillion in every year they have been. Ruto is going to exit his term with a total borrowing spend of about 5 to 6 trillion. It is plunging us to almost 16 trillion into debt if he goes to that rate because of the laws that they keep amending towards borrowing. Okay. So we are failing as a state, and if as youth we can sit here and one of us, but I do not blame him. You know, in every market you must have a madman.
Okay, let's not call him mad.
I'm not saying he's a madman.
Oh, okay.
That's you claiming. So
me now.
It's you. It's you saying.
Go and apologize.
This
I
is
was
not,
trying to defend him.
This is not a market. You are the one who has claimed he's a madman. But you know, you can also be a madman by the percentage levels to which you understand simple concepts like failure. Failure is when I tell you 1 + 1 and you tell me it's 0. It does not mean that you are stupid. Maybe your intelligence level is below our optimum level. But anyway, as I finish and give out the mic, let us have a candid conversation on where we want our country to go.
Okay.
Let us not misuse this Niko Kadi campaign. You cannot come here and say that Niko Kadi campaign is a good initiative, yet you want to bring a crook who has not performed well in government. If out of the 5 people that have spoken, to your left, to your right 1 and 3 to your left, you agree with them that we are doing a smart thing in mobilizing. And Maki, you know this Niko Kadi campaign is not pro-government. It is against bad leadership. So if you are talking about a government performing what are you supporting? My friend, change before changes change you.
Interesting. As you come in, I'd like you to double down on the space of youth in political parties. Because as we speak of these political parties, we've seen some party leaders, President William Ruto. I think today we saw a caravan in Nyeri County, if I'm not wrong, Rigathi Gachagua, with branded cars, Niko Kadi, red card, you know. So, and youth have been categorical in mentioning that we don't want these politicians to hijack this particular movement. Why should the politicians stay away? Are we throwing the baby with the bathwater? I know we live in an age where you're either part of the problem or part of the solution. So are they part of the problem? Are they part of the solution? Why should they stay away?
Thank you. My name is Anthony Mureithi Mogo. I'm from Kirinyaga County. And you've asked me a very wonderful question. In fact, if there was any question I wanted to land on me was that one. When we talk about the Niko Kadi movement, this conversation was started by the young people. And we have to give ourselves kudos because we moved the conversation and we pivoted the conversation from who's eating how many bananas, who is how many kgs, and who's leasing a wife. We are back to the conversation that should be happening in this country at this time.
Yeah.
We're in an area where you're supposed to be registering voters to take part in their constitutional right to elect the leaders that they want. When you come to the young people of this country, and people come and say that young people are not registering, we do not expect old people to register. They had already registered. Okay? So this number of young people is growing. And that needs to be taken note of. The reason you've said, we had William, the president, say that he's also Kadi. Okay? And today we've seen the leader of DCP go with his two sons to verify himself and his two sons whether they are registered voters. And that is good. I do not want to dwell on that.
So you encourage political leaders joining this bandwagon?
I encourage them to go and verify that if they are registered to vote in Wamunyoro, that vote will not get lost.
Fair enough, fair enough.
I encourage the president to go and verify that if he's registered to vote in Sugoi, that the vote is still there.
Okay.
Because what I want to assure them is that the coming elections in 2027 will be too big to rig. That is a simple thing that we want to say. And I'm very happy that today we are holding a national conversation started by young people on their mobile phones and their bottles of water. The same things you made fun of in 2024, by this time you omitted KFC. But those young people today are saying, we're using the same tools, using our feet, using our phones, quenching our thirst. We are setting the agenda for this republic. And as people say that old people are not resonating with us, every day, if you go to the market, what do you hear people say? Niko Kadi. It means now we are a conversation at home. And I'm very happy to see that that is happening. The other day I was picking my kids from school. And the one thing I had, when kids are doing what is called mchongo, and one kid said, you continue with what you're doing, but jua tu Niko Kadi. If we've gotten to that level, it means the 7-year-old, the 5-year-old can relate with what we are fighting for. Okay. For the first time in this country's independence, and it's in democratic space, the people today have set the agenda. I want us to go back in history and look, and you will not find any time that there was a mass voter registration that the drive came from the voters themselves. It was always the political class. So for me, I want to tell young people, me included, that for all of us who are in this movement, we've done well. And we will not be dissuaded by sideshows of who's shouting to Kokadi. It is their democratic right to do that. But you asked two questions that I don't believe were answered well, or no one answered them. How do we get this conversation from urban areas to rural Kenya? Now that is a conversation we've had as a Kokadi team. Because I felt we also are cognizant to say that the resonance and the heartbeat of our country is in urban areas. That's why we have mass concentration of people. Every day around 3.4 million people drive into Nairobi, and every day 3.4 million people drive back to rural Kenya to continue. People driving to buy goods, people driving to supply goods. So this conversation is moving from urban areas, which are the epicenters, and going back to rural Kenya. As we now roll into the mass voter registration, you are going to see these young people, the Niko Kadi team, now going to the grassroots, to the wards, and emphasizing that tunataka mkue Kadi because of everything each one person has spoken before me has said. The person receiving a payslip that they took a loan on, a 5-year own loan on, or a mortgage, a 20-year mortgage on, knowing no one will interfere with that payslip. Today, it's on a negative. Why? Because someone thought of introducing housing levy and building houses in Kariako without asking themselves, why am I building bed sitters in a place where every home has around 4 to 5 children? So how do you move these 4 to 5 children into a bed sitter? Public participation comes into play. So young people, we are saying, this is the Kenya we are building. The Niko Kadi campaign is no longer a Gen Z campaign. Today it is a national conversation being held in national platforms. And it is cascading from the highest office on this land to the home in the village. So for us, the Niko Kadi team, I clap for us because we've returned hope to the hopeless. We've told them that this time round, and I'll say this in Kiswahili for it to go to every home, sisi ndio kusema. Kuwa kadi na upige kura. Sisi ndio kusema na sisi ndio tutaamua. And that's the reason everyone is scared. Because they know their time is up. And our time is now.
Interesting. How do we, I know it's been a long wait, sorry for that. How do we separate the wheat from the chaff? Because there are leaders who wamesema na kutenda. There are those who have only majored on rhetoric, and their track record is questionable. Because at the end of the day, Kenyans have voted right in some instances, but they've equally voted wrong in other instances. How do we make sure 2027 is a classic example of the power of the people and the power of the ballot?
Hi everyone, my name is Precious Howie Ormona City Athman. I'm an inspiring MCA CBD 2027. Yeah, Niko Kadi movement was started with the young generation. And the reason behind all these things, it's because of the police first brutality. They are, at the moment tuko na bodi zile zimepatikana Kericho, and it's so painful that you're hearing it's children. Children, I think, so it's the age of, to say, 10 to below, and most injured head, and some don't know, as like they're not verified. Secondly, today we have lost 6.3 billion in treasury, withdrawn in a private account, and we're so quiet. For sure, I can say that our country is so rich. Each day, 6.3 billion stole, 1.3 trillion, and we're still surviving in this city. So our country is so rich. And as like our president today went to the television and said that he has lied about the petroleum, as we have enough petroleum to sell. And as like this is something which we are just seeing worldwide, that the Iran and the USA fight, it has led to this. And he came to us like pastor, promises us like, yeah, alikuwa anajua Biblia sana. So at the moment you've questioned the youth that we don't have a leader, don't rush us to select a leader, because the rush makes us select the wrong leaders. At the moment, the thing we know is we must remove all the bad governance leaders in this country from our president, that is our President William Samoei. You will be a one-term president. I believe so that despite of everything that you've done, I believe, because we believe we have hopes. And as like,
but you know, hope is not a strategy.
No, as like when you go to Hebrews chapter 1, you have to have that hope in yourself. So, and we have some leaders who have worked even for UDA, but as like, despite they are in a political party that we kind of castigated, they might lose their position. So reason well, and as like, we are going to choose the best out of it. And despite we usually say, kitu kizuri huwa chajitembeza. Yeah. So,
but how will you, we've been fooled once, eh?
And that's the reason why.
Agenda, manifesto, they can seem so flowery, but at the end of the day, implementation is a problem. So how will you know at face value?
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
When you first came to your work journalist, the first day, what were you doing? You were work harding as like you want to be promoted. So any new leader will have to work for the community because he wants the next time. Before it's like you see a period of 5 years, before was like that 5 years, he won't steal or she won't steal because it's us. We have the voice. We'll come to you, tell you you're not working, and you'll have to be removed from that seat. So as like at the moment, we don't want those people who have stayed in these political seats for more than 60 years. Generation and generation have been bored. As like Musalia Mudavadi was in politics since 1989.
At all.
Umesikia, it's like 1989 till now. as like we're losing everything. Tumesoma wengine wetu, we're not given those positions. Atoli still leads the labor, and the labor are not doing anything. As like ameshazaeka yeye kitu anatuambia, and then this is what Atoli tells us atiana to motivate because anaoa wasichana wadogo.
Oh God.
Na nilimwambia sisi tunataka kuolewa na wazee.
Okay. Let's leave these names out of it briefly. Yeah.
I will be as short as a miniskirt, but long enough to arouse the attentions of Kenyans on what is affecting our country. Just a rejoinder on us, we have been fooled more than once, but the difference this time is that we have a woke generation which is bulging in terms of numbers. The numbers are enormous.
Okay.
We have decided not to inherit bad leadership and the struggle. We are owning it. We are defining what we want, and we are driving ourselves towards the change. So that is the difference between us and the generation that we have. And if you also look at it, the other generations are seeing this thing, and they're also coming back. You can hear our parents saying that whatever our children are doing, we also try to do it, but we do not have the courage. We do not have the momentum. We are not able to be like them, where they can stand up and say that we want a leader who will turn ideas into action, conviction into leadership, and all wrapped in an unusual blend of intellectual rigor, lived experience, and political courage.
Okay.
So that is the difference between this generation and this lot of leaders with the other stuff.
All right. Before we give Kibet the right of reply, Wanjiru, she has you already have a mic.
Okay,
It's okay.
sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah, I wanted to address two things that I don't think we have talked about. Our numbers. We were saying we are 15 million strong. And IEBC wametuambia there's 6 million who are yet to be registered. So that's about 22 million. Even with half that number, if we leverage our numbers, we would still endorse our president. So I think if Kenyans want to demonstrate the will of the people there, it will be very easy for us. Secondly, tukisema tuko kadi, nikisema niko kadi, if you have played poker, sijui kama umecheza poker, Jesse. Kama umecheza poker, nikishika kadi zangu hivi nikwambie Jesse, niko kadi, inamaanisha kadi naangusha next. Nimefanya nini? Nimemaliza game. Like I'm holding the winning card.
Okay.
So we Kenyan people, with our voters card, we are holding the winning card. Kila mtu ashike kadi yake ya kutoa Ruto kwa sababu we have said, we have complained, we have protested, we have been killed. Ni nini hatujafanya? Hakuna kitu hatujafanya. Kitu tu hatujafanya ni kuangusha nini? Our kadi. Na ndio maana tunasema tuko nini? Kadi. Tuko kadi. Ruto mali yako akayakijua wa Kenya. It's not just young people wenye wako kadi. Kenyan people, we and our parents who have seen the wrath of this government, the things that have happened in this government are things that we never thought we would hear. Hatukuwahi imagine tutamka siku moja tusikie mtu ametoa 6.3 billion kwa e-citizen akajiekea kwa private account. Kai, hatukuwahi sikia. Yani, we are hearing very strange things.
Okay.
Tunaona the way they have killed young people is not something we ever imagined we would see in independent Kenya. So, Mkenya akaya kijua ako kadi. And this t-shirt has given me so many conversations with so many Kenyans. Wananiona, wananiambia, manzi hata mimi niko kadi kwa sababu life lazima iwork. Life haiwork. Mimi kama hoka niko kadi. Mimi kama mzazi niko kadi. Na kila mtu anajua akisema ako kadi, sio tutam. Ako kadi kwa sababu Ruto ni lazima.
Must go.
So we have built a consensus.
Yeah.
As Kenyan people, as Kenyan youths, as Kenyan women, that Ruto na minions wake
must go.
Wanaenda.
So unataka kuniambia kila mtu mwenye ako tuko kadi is against the Kenya Kwanza administration?
Yes. Sisi tunajua, we are against all of them. Na wakae wakijua, hatujawahi sahau vile walitumada, hatujawahi sahau vile yani they didn't care. All those phone calls we made, Charity. Yes, tulikuwa nasema salimia Mhesh. Amia Mhesh, avote no kwa hiyo.
We will never.
This is us coming back. And by the way, when people ask, are you going to maintain that momentum? This was started in 2024. Tukiandamana for reject finance bill. 2025, bado tulikuwa kwa streets. Ni 2026 na tunasema tuko kadi.
Okay.
Finals ni
Yeah.
2027.
Finale. Kibet.
Jesse,
Finale.
you know,
Yes.
you know,
Wacha ajibu. Amegongwa. Tutakuja.
you know,
Relax.
Jesse,
Yes, Kibet.
as we are talking here in this show,
Yeah.
I said at first, we need to talk about logic, not emotions, right? So my question, my biggest worry was,
By
at
the
first,
way,
Let's give him a
in this
chance.
country,
He
in this
needs to
country,
learn.
He gave you a chance to speak. Let him
he
speak.
needs to learn.
in this country,
That is emotional. People died. What do you mean?
mean? At first, the
Even
numbers
to
of
be logical, you
the
have
number
to
of
be
students who
emotional.
are entering into the job market, they are close to 1 million, right? The ones who are finishing for
But those kuja hapa kutetea serikali wewe.
Okay.
100,000.
All right.
Kuja hapa kutetea serikali
This is
wewe.
not a shouting match. Let's relax. We'll all speak. So let him do it. Let him do it.
You know,
We'll come to you. Relax.
Asija
Kibet.
sometimes we need to be
majambazi.
realistic. Yes.
We need to
be Jesse,
unaona watu bro, tutazima hiyo mic. Cheki.
Siwezi karanga. Let's go.
Haya, tumesikia.
Kulipa gharama. Sitasimama maovu ya kitawala. Sitasimama maovu ya kitawala.
Haya, Viva, let him speak now. Message is across.
You know, when I say 800,000 youths are finishing Form 4,
Okay.
I mean, for example, each and every financial year,
Don't deal the mic.
unapata,
Let's not be comical, bro. This is a serious discussion. Yeah.
you know, you find at first 200,000 are advancing to Form 4, right? To university. Yes. In 4 years, they are almost 150,000. The currently, so it means that 150,000 students will be doing their degrees. Yes. Almost 200,000 will be doing their diplomas. 100,000 will be doing their certificates. Others will be having entrepreneurship skills. So these 100,000 Kenyans.
Yeah.
I was not, last general election, I was not supporting this regime, to be sure. Yes? But now, because I've seen the shining things.
What shining things?
So many shining things.
Talk to us about it. Case in point.
Number one, when you talk about SHA, I know there are fundamental. When the baby is born, there are some problems, right? But when by the time the baby grows, the baby will grow and it will outgrow some stuff. So I mean, I believe that, for example, this
so
country,
SHA is a good initiative.
SHA is a good initiative.
They have problems.
Okay, what else? What
Right
else?
now, Kenyans are registering for IDs. If you go to Ruma centers, there are almost 1,000 Kenyans each and every day. It means by 9 p.m. it has been closed because they are telling you no, you should come tomorrow morning. So for example,
We want the shining things.
there are so many shining things.
What?
I even forgot.
Mention them.
Mention them. There is this affordable housing. There is Nyota program. Yes, there is this.
Proceed. Don't be intimidated. Proceed.
Affordable housing.
You know, sometimes when you are talking about Kasongo, sometimes it's a very good initiative.
Wow, congratulations. Should we educate you about financial
Okay, guys.
And when you're talking about injustices,
Yes.
we need to talk about historical injustices. It does not happen in this administration. It has happened since 1964.
What
We need to be
injustices?
accountable.
What injustices?
There are so many injustices.
Like?
There's Baby Pendo, one of them. There was Rivayala bodies.
So no Kenyans have been killed under this administration?
There are so many.
No, he's saying they should be killed because they have
I've said everybody should be killed.
That's the point.
No.
Yeah.
So
They
when
don't
we are
mix
going
his
to elect a
words.
leader, we need to reset.
Because people died in Rivayala.
For example,
So ukikufa kwa street,
you know,
it has been
Wacha
happening. It is historical.
Tunakuja kwako.
You know, for example,
Yeah.
my vote counts, right? So the people of Emgwen have decided that I'll be their next MP, member of parliament in Nandi County. So my vote do count. That's what we need to know. And I'm not saying that we are going to say somebody must go. If somebody must go, what are the implications? What are the strategical things this guy will go to do for us?
Jesse, because I came up with the matter's emotions and just talked to it, let me also speak to it a little bit. A friend of mine, an advocate of the High Court, has told me nimpigie ujamango to but ni sawa.
No violence, yeah.
No violence.
Yes.
Yeah, hiyo ni feedback from the people.
Okay.
Kwa ground. Jesse, at least, you know, we are very open to having debates with people who are supporting the current regime. But at least we need to have a debate that makes sense. That is factual and that speaks to issues. We cannot just have people, because of representation and probably inclusivity, and so now we just talk and yap.
No, he wasn't yapping. Listen,
the thing
let me
is,
throw a
because
spanner. Even as you continue, relax.
Jesse.
Has inflation gone down?
No.
Yes. It actually has.
There are two types of inflation, core and non-core inflation. Core inflation has gone down. Non-core inflation, your food, fuel, basic needs is 10%.
Okay. So one has gone down, one hasn't. Has the shilling stabilized against the US dollar? Because this is what President William Ruto is saying, not my words. The shilling has stabilized against the dollar. He stabilized the economy, cost of food. Now that's a good question.
Jesse.
Okay, proceed. We don't have, whoever has the mic speaks. Proceed.
Before he finishes, my brother mentioned here something to do with the baby pendo and of course the other things and all that people who died.
Yeah.
What I want to say, and I want listen, bro. I just want to give him some historical memory that during the times that we lost the baby pendo and everybody who died during those mandamandos, between 2014 to 2024. There has been only one constant person in those mandamanos, and that has been the president today, William Samoei Ruto. At that time, he was the deputy president. And the things that were happening to people, to demonstrators, still happened in 2024 when he was the president. So then, it doesn't matter whether it's trying to justify anything or something. The constant person in all the causes and killing and abduction and disappearance still remains the same person, who today sits at the State House and has got the monopoly of powers and things that he can decide who sleeps where, who eats where, and can dictate who sleeps with who at what time.
So 2 billion being set aside for compensation.
So listen, Jeff. I mean, Jeff, it doesn't matter how much money Ruto is going to give your parent if he kills you today.
Yes.
The pain, the loss still remains.
Okay, fair point.
The family of Ojwang wakes up today and what they see is a grave. Rex Masai the same, and the other 65 young people.
Okay.
And that's why when we come out and say this guy need to go, we are not talking about things that did not happen. We are talking about things that you can actually go and see.
Okay.
That if not for William Ruto, these young people maybe they will be alive today.
Before we come to you,
Jenzi.
Jenzi.
My brother, we are not emotional. And we are allowed to be.
Joshua.
But logically and factually, these things happened in this country. Umekuja leo.
Tosha. He was finalizing on a point. Kindly do that, yeah.
Jesse, people are dying. Floods are killing people. And there are people who are also dying of hunger. All right? In this country. That's more important to me than the figures that are being posted on the screen. It's more important to me. People are dying in the hospitals because there are no medicines and there are no doctors. All right? That is more important to me than figures about economy and whatever. Children are lacking education, or there are children who are studying under trees. We've seen in Tarakaniti there's a classroom that looks like a cowshed. All right? Na huko ndo wakina fire see fire. And State House has a budget of 17 billion. 17 billion Kenya shillings. You understand? Now wanataka 20. Wanataka 20. There are people, students, who have dropped university because they cannot pay school fees and pay accommodation fees and live in Nairobi. You understand? Do we see a future there? And some of these things, when you speak about them, you see the difference between some of us and others is that some of us are speaking these issues because we feel them and they affect us. And we come from the society where these things actually happen. Other people speak like they've fallen from somewhere. And they just landed here, they're like, hey, Kwani, what is not happening?
Okay, let's go back to issues now.
That is that is also an issue.
We're speaking about people.
That is also an issue.
Because people, I mean, the leadership is about people. If we did not have people in Kenya, what is the essence of having a government? There's no need. Okay. You understand? So it is about people. So we first have to focus on the things that make the greatest impact in the lives of the people before we talk about numbers, the other numbers that are considered, worldwide. There's something called, what is it called? It's called utilitarianism. I think Fidel knows this. Utilitarianism is basically bringing greatest joy or greatest fulfillment to the greatest number of people. It basically accepts that you cannot fulfill everyone's needs, but at least let a majority of people, a higher percentage of people feel that something is actually happening. And as we speak, that is not the case.
Okay. Yeah.
Allow me to say something to my friend. It becomes very comical when you say you can see shiny things and you can't identify the shiny things. But let's do this mathematically. The governor of Nairobi said on national television that we require 25 billion to fix the drainage of this Nairobi city. Yet, one house, the president's the state house and the vice president's house, combined this budget can fix the drainage of this city. So which is more important? Do we fix and add shiny things? Because this government really loves shiny things. Do we add more shiny things to houses that do not have a drainage problem, that can be evacuated by a helicopter at the ring of a bell? Or do we fix the drainage of every Nairobian so that when it rains, they don't have to rush home and the father, the mother, and the children have to sleep on a double decker and watch water rising? So we need, this obsession with shininess needs to stop. One of the other biggest problems with this government is that you have this problem of throwing numbers around. Housing levy that you've mentioned, you've collected 130 billion as per my last check, because this month alone, another big chunk of money is going to come in. How many houses have you delivered? 13,000, for crying out loud?
He's not listening.
Now, what did you promise? The president and this government needs to realize one thing. The government needs to realize one thing. People, no. Now, you see, that's the other thing. You even don't know your roles. Housing levy was established by the current regime. So when you come and say, you promise you'll be delivering 120,000 units every year.
It was
200, thank you. What are you delivering? 13,000 in 3 years? A strong E, right, Fidel?
Yes.
Now, let me come back to you and ask you this question. If you cannot defend the government that you seek to represent here today, my friend, look at me when I'm talking to you as a gentleman. Nataka uvuke sakafu kwa mwendo wa aste aste. Na useme you have been delivered from the darkness.
Yeah, proceed before. Yeah.
Nataka nipitie points zake haraka haraka because of time again. Sisi watu wa one time is of essence. Hata kitoka kesho tutaenjoy. Ametutajia SHA. Nataka tu nimueducate, SHA imetumia pesa ngapi? We used 104 billion kuimplement, kuiweka tu, kuchange NHIF ikuwe SHA. 104 billion. Kukaka 11 billion. Kukaka 50 billion. The same institution. And again, people are dying in hospitals. We won't even mention all that. In short, it's not working, but it is working. Because mwenye aliweka hapo aliweka in finance, and finance, it's doing its job, but it's not serving the Kenyans. Akatutajia Talanta Stadium. Talanta Stadium, ngoja nimalize kuongea.
Lead the mic.
Ngoja nimalize kuongea. 392 zenye tunaambiwa mtu anapata 4 open heart surgeries in a day. Mama mmoja anazaa 10 children in a year. Ndio unataka kutuambia imefinance. Ngoja niongee.
But Kibet, the number of Kenyans who are registered under SHA compared to those who are actually contributing to SHA, there's a huge discrepancy.
Yes.
Fact or fiction?
Discrepancy. 29 million have registered for SHA.
And how many are contributing?
5 million.
So unaona kuna shida hapo.
Hapo kuna shida.
Hebu proceed. Proceed.
Jesse ni kama anaanza kukua assimilated, guys. We need to pray for Jesse.
Kindly proceed due to time.
Talanta Stadium. He has mentioned Talanta Stadium. I did my research the other day, and Talanta Stadium is top 5. Ikiisha na tukimaliza kulipa deni, it will be top 5 most expensive iko number 5. Tunashindana na US na sijui nchi gani huko. Kwa nini? Because tulikopa, nataka nitumie simple, I'm a mathematics teacher, so I want to use simple mathematics. Umekopa 4,000, mtu anakuambia umlipe 14,000. Ama tuongezee 0. Umekopa 40,000, mtu anakuambia ulipe 140,000. Tuongezee 0. Umekopa 400,000, mtu anakuambia umlipe 1.4 million. Hiyo interest ina make sense? Hivyo ndio Talanta Stadium inatufanya. Tumekopa 45 billion na tutalipa 145 billion. It honestly doesn't make sense. Wewe kuja tudansia, oh Talanta Stadium ngo. Hiyo pesa mungetuwekea huko Nairobi tusidedi juzi.
But let me ask you, when the
sense.
president says that this sports fund would be misappropriated, would be used to build gates or non-existent facilities, it would rather build something that is visible, something that would be used by Kenyans. Well, what would you reply to that?
To your point, you can't be the setter of the exam, the doer of the exam, and the marker of the exam.
What do you
These
mean?
3 people have to be different.
And the release of the result.
And the release of the result, so A+. No, it doesn't work like that. The setter of the exam, ujiseti utuambie ni sawa nitawajengea. The marker, sisi ndio tunafaa tu mark tukuambie.
Okay.
Ukweli venye ulitundia Talanta Stadium ulitusaidia sana. You don't mark it yourself. You don't come and tell us I have apana. It doesn't work like that. And if we tell you haven't delivered, you haven't delivered. So in short, Ruto is going home.
Okay. You had the mic, even as you come in.
Just about Talanta Stadium.
We need to make sure everyone speaks. In the spirit of fairness. Mtampe time. Aya, proceed.
Bwana.
Aya, umetetewa.
Sasa, just let me support her point.
Yes.
45 billion. Old Trafford, mimi na support Man U. Ilikuwa constructed na roughly 15 million then, 1910 hapo.
Yes.
Sasa hii ukiangalia purchasing power ni about it's about 200 or something million Kenya shillings. It's not even 1 billion. No, it's 2.5 billion right now. If Old Trafford were to be constructed now, 2.5 billion. Talanta Stadium ni 45 billion. Old Trafford hosts 80,000 people. How many people
With returns.
does Talanta Stadium host?
60,000.
60,000. What are we doing? Now, would we rather have that humongous, huge, good-looking stadium, or would we rather have players who actually get something from their talent?
Oh, and I'll be the devil's advocate as you come in. Don't shoot the messenger. If you hear about the National Infrastructure Fund, does it inspire confidence in terms of the development by this Kenyan government? Yeah.
I think as a country, we joke a lot with whatever we have. You see, when we talk about the National Infrastructure Fund, we are selling the most important parastatals we have. And I'll give an example of Safaricom alone so that I become very precise. You see, if you sell Safaricom, it's being sold for almost 0.5% of what a share should be sold for. So, okay, let's look at what Safaricom can do to us vis-a-vis what has happened to our neighbors. We are selling Safaricom. The person who is doing the bidding for Safaricom is called Adil Kawanja. Adil Kawanja is the same person who has done SHA. He has been paid 3 billion to do the Safaricom thing. He has also been paid 6 billion to do the SHA thing.
And you can prove this, yeah?
Google, just open your phone and look at what is there. Okay. I don't speak out of what is not there.
Okay.
I do my research before I come to a TV show. So if you look at the kind of the level of which we are selling our parastatals, you look at the Kenya pipeline and how we are losing to it. There is no way we are selling oil here. The oil that passes Kenya is too expensive vis-a-vis the oil that is being sold to Uganda. We are selling something that is supposed to help Kenya into the name that we are raising 5 trillion. I earlier told you that the government is borrowing. By the time Ruto is going out of power, he'll have borrowed 5 trillion. That is what he's trying to raise with the National Infrastructure Fund. That's what I was telling you on the debt issue. What has the debt done? My brother, you are talking about the Talanta Stadium. It's not bad that they are building a stadium. Even a mad person will build a stadium because it is something that is provided by the law, that the money will be there. When you talk about the sports fund, it's not that it's not doing the work. It is what we call systematic and leadership failure. There is no way we'll be paying a 15.04% loan on the Talanta Stadium thing, whereby 500 million will be taken from the sports monthly to repay a stadium that will not be bringing income to the country into the same regard. What are we playing AFCON for if we do not have the right facilities to nurture talent in the country?
Yeah.
You know, we should be speaking this thing. We are talking about SHA that they are saying here. If you ask a medic, you cannot perform 4 heart surgeries in the same month. Where is this money going to? When you look at the charges you are saying that have been laid about the 11 billion, a nursing home that does not exist has been awarded money by SHA, which is an insurance scheme, that is now hindering women from Kenyatta Hospital, men that are in Russia Hospital in Kisumu from accessing what is duly theirs because they have contributed. For you to access SHA, you must pay a mandatory 6,000 down payment for it to work for you. So it is about the systematic failure. That's what these people are pointing out to. So it's not that people are just angered and they are just shouting two-term. It is because there is something that is laying the foundation to whatever we are facing. So my brother, don't be emotional, don't look at twist, but let us have a factual way of reasoning and laying out our facts. If the government has failed, it is leadership, as I told you, to say that we have failed, but we'd ask you for another term. That's why these people are telling you, instead of asking us for another term, just go home. We have people who will work for us.
Okay, before we come to you, let us speak then. We'll give you the mic. Yeah.
I want to add something about the National Infrastructure Fund.
Briefly, yes.
This one, sorry, I can't be brief. It's serious. So, number one, the National Infrastructure Fund is pegged on the Companies Act in Kenya, which means all state parastatals will be run like companies. And guess who is the CEO of these companies? The CS of Treasury. Guess who elects or rather appoints the CS of Treasury? The President. The National Infrastructure Fund is really not even about the shares. It's about the pieces of land that are owned by these state parastatals. What pieces, for example, as of today, Teleposta of Kenya is selling 4 buildings inclusive of GPO, the famous GPO. And they're looking to raise 10 billion shillings. Where will that 10 billion shillings go? The National Infrastructure Fund. Another way that the National Infrastructure Fund is seeking to raise funds is the domestic debt. What is the amount of the domestic debt in Kenya as we sit here today? It is approaching 7 trillion shillings. How do we get domestic debt in Kenya? Central Bank borrows on behalf of Kenyans from banks, from pension funds, from insurances, and from high wealthy individuals. Guess who has just bought a bank in Kenya? The Sidian Bank of Kenya. Do you know how much money, how much percentage of profit Sidian Bank has made in 2025? 503%. Which bank, as of today, is taking all the money of Nairobi County? Do you know how much our next budget in Kenya will be of 2026? It's going to be 4.2 trillion. Out of that 4.2 trillion, the CS of Treasury, the same CEO of National Infrastructure Fund that is run as a private company, will borrow 1.1 trillion domestically. Guess the first bank they are going to approach to borrow 1.1 trillion? Guess who is going to get all the interest that we are paying? And you know very well, Jesse, out of the money that we are paying to debt repayment, most of that money is going to debt interest and not the actual debt repayment. Lastly, a part of what is going to fund the National Infrastructure Fund is climate financing. What an oxymoron. The same person who wants climate financing is cutting trees in Karura Forest. He's the same person who's chasing away clean cooking companies in Kenya. Do you know today, because cocoa shut down in Kenya, cocoa has shut down even in the UK? Cocoa was depending on Kenya's carbon credit deal to be able to finance itself. Cocoa has completely shut down in the world. Lastly, is to say that on the issue of Talanta Stadium, why have one big stadium? Kwani talent yote inatoka Nairobi? Utakuwa unaendea mtu huko ushago ukitutuma saba akuje atrain Talanta Stadium. Utakuwa unaendea mtu huko Northeastern akuje atrain Talanta Stadium. Si ujenge stadiums 47 Kenya mzima na hiyo 45 billion surely. Nikimalizia junajua sitapata hii mic tena. Hatujaongelelea objective yetu kama tuko Kadi. Objective yetu kama tuko Kadi, it is to institutionalize election reforms. We want to note down every single thing that is wrong in the process of registering Kenyans. Kama sahi, wewe haujawahi register kama voter, unajikuta kwa voter registration list. Mtu alikufa, bado ako kwa register. Wewe ulikuwa umevote 2022, hauko kwa register. Umeregister leo, umejiandikisha Westlands, ukienda kuverify, uko Turkana. Kuna shida. So what we are trying to do is to collect actual verifiable data of the issues that are working here. And let me clarify something, Jesse. IEBC is not our enemy. IEBC, we are petitioning them to pick a side, and they need to pick the people's side, where they help us to have a free, fair, verifiable, secure election, where we will have trust in them. And we want to tell them, if they will not institutionalize the reforms that we are suggesting to them, we are not going to go into an election without reforms. And what we are sure about as the people of Kenya is that Ruto must go by whatever means necessary. So we are giving them an ultimatum. It is either they institutionalize these reforms, or we are not going to go into an election. And this is my last point. Niko Kadi is a movement that will be the people's stakeholder. We shall sit at the table and petition IEBC on behalf of the people. So people should give us their trust and their numbers so that we work with them this journey to ensure that we actually vote out this regime. Thank you.
As you give us your final comments, so we'll only get two because time is not on our side, so kindly proceed.
My final comments. I would like to just respond to a few things that we've talked about and also the questions that you've asked. My brother Kibet was telling us about the thing that should happen as if it's something that is a favor, that people are going to school, these big numbers are going to high school, then campus, then college and certificates. It is our right to have it is our right to have proper and quality education. And as we're talking about that, and relevant education that is actually going to help you, you know, si ati umemaliza kazi, umemaliza shule na hakuna job unapata. So now we've seen, and I'm just going to talk about with facts. We have 4 schools, and it was very shameful that an MP, I'm talking about my constituency because that is where I understand, and it reflects the whole of the nation. My MP was seen on TV coming to celebrate that Kenyans are celebrating because they're closing down 4 public schools. Why are they closing the public schools? Because they're not performing. Who is this leader that is actually championing for schools to be closed down? To be closed down, that means that now the people of Gatondo will have to take their children to private schools. They are going to pay more than they can afford. You understand? So 4 schools, one school takes up to 800 people. So these are more than 800 people. These are 3,200 people that have to look for education elsewhere. Whereas we have 800 million that is supposed to go to bursary to empower people to learn in every constituency across the whole country. You understand? We have schools that are being funded that are not existing. These are our monies. These are monies that are supposed to be pumped to proper education. Proper education. The other thing I want to also talk about, you asked about voter apathy, and we had 64% of people who voted. We had 8 million Kenyans that didn't vote. 8 million Kenyans. If these 8 million voters voted, we will not be having this problem that we have now. Do you know why they didn't vote? Because they did not see someone who represents their interests in every leader who was vying.
And this time around, you see someone who represents?
Now this time, I'm even getting, I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
8 million people did not vote because they did not have people who resonated with them. Of these 8 million people who also voted for 7 point, who voted for the current president, 7.1. Many people have now said, we are not going to vote for this man because he's been the biggest disappointment that we've had in listening to our issues and addressing them as a leader should.
we are targeting 6 more million people to come and take the voters card. And these are young people. So I'm telling you, tukisema tuko kadi, tunapiga hesabu ya 18 million strong. The person that we are going to say, this is the person we are going to champion for as a leader. And we're not bringing here your tribal politics. It's not normal thing as we are used to. Nah, but they're politicians. As you're trying to bring us to a tribal cocoon, let me tell you, we are of only one tribe.
Tribe Kenya.
Tribe all, bro. I mean, we are the only tribe that we subscribe to is Kenya.
Yeah.
And I want to talk to IEBC. There was something that was very sad, that when we were going to ask them with a group of other CSOs, asking them for accreditation. So about voter education and publicizing the whole process. So IEBC has 1.2 billion that is supposed to go to marketing. But what they can do to organizations like mine, when we are in Niayetu, we are in 33 counties. Do you know what they told me? They told me, with many other CSOs that we went there to ask, they said, we can only give you accreditation. We cannot give you funding to do the work that is supposed to be done. Just accreditation. So you're giving me accreditation to go and educate people on your behalf, whereas you have the money that is supposed to do the work. You understand? We don't need 1.2 billion to educate.
So money should follow the function. If you're playing that role,
it should follow the function. Okay. It should follow the function. It should follow the function.
Finally,
the other thing is civic education, which I'm very passionate about, and that's what we are doing here. The reason we are here is to say, hey, by the way, we are not one term, 2 term, we are very sober in what we are saying. We know what is ailing us, and we have the solutions.
Okay.
And we also actually have all these budgets. You're not going to tell us, do a lorry, this or that. Finally, IEBC is supposed to vet every candidate to ensure that no criminal is elected or goes to the election, to the ballot. You understand? Just 2 weeks ago, we had one person say, this one is a killer, this is a murderer and a rapist. These are a pedophile. So, and they're friends. And they're saying it as fact.
All right.
These are people who should be taking those people to court and coming as what are they called? Out on Kokoti. Witnesses. Check it. Take say Kokoti and then come as a witness, because you have all the machinery to prove that this person is a murderer, is a criminal.
Fair
so
point.
do not come and tell us that this person is a criminal. Take them to court. Don't also rebuttal and say, even you're a criminal. Go to court and sort that issue. What we are seeing now is Kandara. In Kandara, hakuna barabara. Unaniget? Na hiyo ni kitu yenye tuko very serious about. Ukienda Makongeni, manze stima inapotea kila time. Manze ukienda Kibera, watu wanakufa kolera watoi. Unaniget? So usiniambia ati ule msee sijui alifanya nini 1997. Wewe cheki mpeleke kotini na hizo shining things zako, alafu sisi ile tax yenye mimi nalipa kama mwanabiashara inafine wakie mimi. You understand?
Safi. The point is across.
Finally.
Someone else needs to speak.
No, just finally, Jesse, please. Finally, in a second. As we came here, I ran a presidential opinion poll on our platform near Yetu. And this is just to tell you that Tuko Kadi. Do you know what the poll is saying? Is saying, I actually put Boniface Mwangi there, Rigathi Gachagua, Kalonzo Musyoka, David Maraga, Edwin Sifuna, and please, you can confirm with me. What is the percentage for William Ruto on this poll?
2.3.
So unaniambia uko kadi aje. What is the percentage for Kalonzo Musyoka?
11.6.
Who's leading?
Rigathi Gachagua?
4.7.
Boniface Mwangi?
16.3.
How many people voted?
This is a poll that we've just done today.
I'm asking how many?
We don't have the final numbers.
Now, how many?
Tuko na candidates wengine kama Sifuna.
Sawa, let's
hear from
the lady
kama
behind
Sifuna. And by the way, you can go there. Now, kesho by the way, kesho we are going to release this poll for our public who vote.
Let's give her a chance to speak.
To vote. Msitupatie cooked. Msitupatie cooked polls.
Tutazimero mic haya tosha.
Friends.
Finally, we'll give you that final chance, so I hope you can carry the expectations of this group. Proceed.
Hi, everyone. For sure, this talk was the best ever talk. After Niko Kadi mobilizing the new people to vote, to take voter card, after that, we are going to IEBC to audit the register. Because there are a lot of funky things, and there's hatujawa question because watatusema sisi tuko rebellious at the start. We have not questioned them. For sure, there are new voters, wale walikuwa wana vote Kasarani na walijipata wameshawekwa kura Thika. So as there is a parent who died 2015 na mpaka leo ako kwa register, tulikuwa hapo kwa line. So IEBC, take this note. Whatever you are going for, na zile vitu mnafanya, mjue round hii mnatuambiaga sijui you have this. We are watching you and we are going to question you the way we usually question this government. For sure, after all these things, tunakuja na nyinyi bako to bako. Mnatuambia hawa ndo waliregister na kwa hii ward ni watu 400 na non-voters hawafai kukua with all the circumstances of everything.
Okay.
So guys, na zile ID mko nazo, tunataka mfanye hivi. Na tunawaambia this in a peaceful way, because pia si tunajua the violence way. So please, the government, I know you are watching us. Kibet umekuja, we endelea. Miti, sisemi kwa ubaya. Kibet, I'm not talking this out of something or out of emotionals. For sure, wewe ni young generation. Na sidhani kama uko na mtoi. Kama uko na mtoi, ya kuna miaka ngapi? Naona bado ni mdogo. Labda bado anavaa pampers, bado uko na ile love nini. So at this moment, at this moment, check your son and check yourself. Because one day, means sikwambi kwa ubaya, kama usually repeats itself. One day, huo mtoi unamuona sasa hivi ni mtoi wako, atakuja kuambia dad, ulinifail. So tusikuje kuambiwe last time huo ni mtoi wako sana, haukumdirect the good way. Sisemi as the good way ni kumwambia ati asifollow Ruto. If you want to follow Ruto, because unaitwa Kibet, tribalism tuliacha kitambo. Because mimi sahi, mimi ni mjaka. Na si as hakuna kitu Ruto anatuambia ati anakuja kumechanize nini ocean lake ati mambo ya fish. Those are natural fish. Hakuna kitu anaweza kutupromise ati atafanya zikuwe mingi. Yes, si Mungu. So, and then Luos were there clapping. Ati has tumekewa 25.2 billion ya ocean mechanize fish. For sure, we are totally a lot of lies. Na mwambie tushachoka na uongo. Tumefika ile place, ukituambia uongo tunasemaje? Ni poa baba, waendelea na uongo yako, tutakutana na wewe. That's all I can say.
Okay, fair enough, gentlemen. Our time is up, and ladies, our time is up. It's been a fruitful discussion. I hope we can have more of this, because we weren't able to canvass all the issues. There's so many issues on the table. Which question?
Let me put the question.
Hey.
That today, we seated here.
Yes.
We agree that William Samoei Ruto must be a one-term president.
Okay. Campaigns haven't started. I can see varied views. Mimi Niko Kadi, yes. I've already voted before, so yeah. We had a poll on our social media pages as we finalized, just to get the mood on the ground. We asked Kenyans, Niko Kadi, if not, what's stopping you from registering? Just to sample the poll itself, Niko Kadi, 86% said that, not yet 7%, I will not register, 6%. 1 or 2 comments as we finalize. Kevin Oma says, time for young people has come. It's not tomorrow, it's right now, and we must grab the power at the ballot. We're cleaning the whole system of corrupt and inept leaders. Rich Auntie anasema tunafaa kuregister wapi? Ayuko Kadi kwa And from next week, it's at the ward level as well. Okay, so she's duly informed. Ambrose Ouma says, Niko Kadi na tutam. So you see, amongst you, so amongst you, kuna watu pia wako tutam. That's a reality. That's a reality. Yeah, Safi. And that's a good way to finalize. I hope when we invite you again, you'll be willing to come. It's been a proper discussion, and I'm sure our viewers have benefited from this particular program. Asanteni sana. My name is Jesse Rogers. Thank you so much for watching. Good night.